Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us for this week's media briefing. I don't have an immediate announcement, so let me move on to the questions that you have. Siddhant, okay, one by one. Let me start with Siddhant. I saw his hand first.
Sir, Siddhant from Beyond. My question is on the Agniveer scheme when it comes to recruitment in Nepal. The recruitment process was to start today, and Nepali media has reported the matter was raised by the foreign minister with the Indian envoy. Any reaction? What's India's view? Have you told them?
Sure. Next, I saw some other hands here. Okay, I'll start with the issue.
Sheikh Hasina is expected to come to India on the 5th of September. Is there something in particular on her agenda? They say that security is one of her concerns. Would you like to comment on that? This is Yeshi Seli.
Okay.
If I could add to that, this week marks 5 years since the last big attacks on Rohingya refugees that then saw some of them come to India. I wanted to ask in the wake of the comments that have been made by the government, first by the Minister of Urban Development, who said that Rohingya refugees will be put into EWS accommodation, followed by the Home Ministry saying India will continue to try and deport them and that there is no plan to move them out of their shanty towns. I wanted to get a sense of what is India's policy when it comes to Rohingya, if you could just restate that. And the second would be, is this an issue that is likely to be discussed when Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina comes to India? And in particular, is India going to seek Bangladesh help in taking some of the Rohingya refugees from here to Bangladesh rather than...
Thanks. Just one second. Srinjo.
So this relates to the suicide bomber Azamov.
Sorry, repeating, suicide bomber Azamov. Okay.
Yes. Has Russia been in touch with India, particularly the Indian mission in Moscow or here, and given the Indian side further details about what he was planning to do when he was here? Because the interrogations were going on for a while.
Sorry. I'll take the last one here.
सर मधुरेंद्र न्यूज़ नेशन से मेरा सवाल ताइवान और चीन को लेकर है। बेसिकली जिस तरह से चीन का दबाव, मिलिट्री दबाव ताइवान पर लगातार दिखाई दे रहा है, उससे समूचे क्षेत्र में अशांति का माहौल है और जाहिर है कि इसका प्रभाव भारत पर भी दिखाई दे रहा है। क्या भारत इस मसले पर खुलकर कोई अपना स्टैंड रख रहा है या हम लोग अभी भी चुपचाप ही बने रहें?
आप पिछले हफ्ते नहीं आए थे या पिछले लास्ट प्रश्न इसलिए आप पूछ रहे. Okay, let me try to answer some of these queries. Let me start with you, Siddhant, your question. On the Agnipat scheme, as you know, Agniveer. Look, I would like to say that we have been recruiting Gurkha soldiers, to the Indian Army for a long time. And we look forward to continuing to recruit Gurkha soldiers to the Indian Army under the Agnipat scheme. That's the update I have for the moment. If you have something more, I'll come back to you on that. On Yeshi as well as Suhasini's comments on proposed visit, you seem to have announced a visit of Bangladesh foreign Prime Minister. I don't have anything to say for the moment on that. As you know, high-level visits are announced at the right time. I don't have any update on that. On the specific and what we will discuss, if in such a hypothetical visit, we will let you know also at that time. I think you mentioned, Suhasini, about the issue of the Rohingya, no? But I don't know, you again, on the part of the, contact or connection to the visit of Sheikh Hasina, that is, we'll take it as it comes. But in terms of, look, on the larger issue of the Rohingya thing, I think, let me just make a simple comment. I think the Ministry of Home Affairs has issued a, detailed press release on this. Frankly, at this point of time, we have nothing further to add to that. Srinjo, on the issue of the Azamov, the would-be or suspected suicide bomber on that. Look, we are aware of the case, obviously. We are in touch with the Russian authorities in the matter. But given the security implications, you would appreciate we're not in a position to share further details in the matter at this moment. मधुरेंद्र जी, आपने ताइवान वाले इशू पे मैंने पिछले हफ्ते या पिछली बार जब हमारा प्रेस का हुआ था प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस, हमने कहा था कि हमारा क्या रुख है या रवैया है उस पर. मैं आपको उसको फिर से दोहरा सकता हूँ. उसके आगे मेरे पास अभी कुछ नहीं, उसमें कोई बदलाव नहीं. अगर आप चाहते हैं तो मैं उसको फिर से पढ़ सकता हूँ, पर कहीं होगा मेरे पास कागज़. पर नहीं, हमने उसमें कह रखा था हमारा क्या नज़रिया है. हमने जैसे उस समय कहा था कि लाइक मैनी अदर कंट्रीज, इंडिया टू इज़ कंसर्न एट रीसेंट डेवलपमेंट्स एंड वी अर्ज द एक्सरसाइज ऑफ रेस्ट्रेंट, avoidance of unilateral actions to change status quo, de-escalation of tensions and efforts to maintain peace and stability in the region. India's relevant policies are well known and consistent. They do not require reiteration. इसका हिंदी अनुवाद भी हमारे वेबसाइट पे उसका है. Okay, next round. If I could. Yes, I saw your hand earlier. I'll come back to you.
Sir, Saurabh from ANI. Sir, we have observed some incident jeopardizing safety of Indians in Sri Lanka. Sir, have we raised it with the local authorities?
Tourists
Yes.
or people
Sir,
still?
Locals.
Okay, it's okay. Indians. Okay. If we could.
Sir, Shruti Ranjan from Bloomberg, sir. The Deputy Secretary, US Deputy Secretary of the Treasury is in India. If you could give us an update on the kind of discussions that the two sides have had.
Already? Okay. Yes, please.
सर, कविता हूँ हरिभूमि से. सर, मेरा सवाल ये है कि अभी कुछ दिन पहले पाकिस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री ने ये कहा है कि हम भारत के साथ शांतिपूर्ण संबंध मतलब बनाना चाहते हैं, तो उसको लेकर एमईए का क्या रिएक्शन है?
Yes, ma'am. From TASS.
Elena TASS News Agency. In continuation of the topic of this arrest of terrorists in Russia who planned attack in India, how do you assess the relations with Russia in anti-terror sphere? My first question. And second one, I asked you last time.
We try to keep it to one question, but okay. Since
have India decided who will go to participate from Indian side in this Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, which starts on the 5th of September and will continue for 3 days at least? What delegation will be there and who will lead this delegation? Thank you.
Okay. Maybe I'll take one more question. Yeah, go ahead. Neeraj.
सर, नीरज हूँ न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से. प्रधानमंत्री जापान जाएंगे. जापान के पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री शिंजो अबे के याद में जो कार्यक्रम है, शोक सभा का आयोजन किया जा रहा है, उसमें पहुंचेंगे प्रधानमंत्री?
प्रश्न था कि आप कह रहे थे. नहीं,
जाएंगे पूछा है.
नहीं, वो मुझे लगा कि आप अनाउंस कर रहे हैं. Let me just take this round. You're okay. Related to this? Okay, go ahead.
Sir, India-Japan 2+2 dialogue is awaited. Any details on it, when it will happen?
Okay. You didn't introduce yourself, but it's okay. Look, let me start with the. I think sort of you talks about Indians in Sri Lanka, particularly tourists. Look, on that one, what we have been following this for some time, these developments there. But let me mention that our understanding is that Indians are still the largest source of tourists for Sri Lanka. As regards travel of Indians to Sri Lanka in the current situation, let me emphasize that safety and well-being of Indian nationals during their stay outside India, and including in Sri Lanka in this particular case, is always of prime importance. Our endeavor is to prevent any untoward incidents involving Indians outside India. We would therefore encourage Indians to exercise all care and caution while in Sri Lanka. They should examine all relevant factors, including currency convertibility and the fuel situation, before undertaking any essential travel to Sri Lanka. That's for the moment, that's what I had. Over this issue. Look, our High Commission, of course, is in touch with all local authorities, but this was a general guidance to people who are there, tourists who are there, or who are thinking of going. That would be our guidance. I'll come back to you. No, I think this was just a guidance. I don't think anybody been attacked or so. I mean, our High Commission would have details of that. I don't have an immediate number. But this was a query, I would say, this was a comment more in terms of what we've got some queries of Indian tourists, whether, how they should look at going or not going, etc. So we would urge that for those factors. On the issue of the US Deputy Secretary of State, I think that's what, Shruti, you mentioned. Look, this is an ongoing visit. I think US let me see if I have some details here. Yes, I think Mr. Wally Ademo, US Deputy Secretary of State for Treasury, he's visiting from August 24 to 26. I think the meetings are going on. He's had meetings, I think, in Mumbai, and he's, I think, just come to Delhi or will be coming to Delhi. Till now, of course, he's had his plans include wide-ranging discussions on various issues. But look, the visit is still on, so let me not comment on that. From our perspective, I think we see the visit covering issues like terror financing, climate finance, coordination in the IMF on various issues, things like that. Those are the issues that we expect to be covered. Let's see how the conversations go. On the issue, Ileana, to your question on the Azamov, I answered Srinjoy on what our perspective is, and we are in touch. Look, on the anti-terror part of it, you heard our defense minister commenting on that, I think, while he was in Tashkent, and thanking Russia for the support on this particular case. So this is part of that. I think we have close cooperation on that. But I don't have any updates to share on that particular case. On the Eastern Economic Forum, you had asked last week, we have an official level participation will be there. I will share with you the details. It's not from the ministry directly, so I will share with you the details separately, or the names. नीरज नहीं, कविता जी, आपने पूछा था कि पाकिस्तान के देखिए, इसके कोई नई बात तो है नहीं इसमें. हम भी पहले भी कह चुके हैं कि उसमें एक एटमॉस्फेयर होना चाहिए विदाउट फ्री ऑफ टेरर, जिसमें हम बातचीत कर पाएँ. बाकी हम भी चाहते हैं रिलेशंस नेबर्स के साथ अच्छा रहे, पर पाकिस्तान के साथ आप जानते हैं क्या दिक्कतें हैं, और उनके तरफ से क्या स्टेप्स उनको लेना पड़ेगा, लेना चाहिए. तो मेरे पास कोई ऐसा स्पेसिफिक अपडेट और नहीं है. नीरज, आपने शिंजो आबे जी, देखिए ये स्टेट फ्यूनरल्स की बात है, अभी तक मेरे पास कोई ऐसा अनाउंसमेंट का वो नहीं है. इन्होंने इन्विटेशन रखा, इन्विटेशन तो नहीं, इसमें बताया गया कि उस समय होगा 27 तारीख को इनका स्टेट फ्यूनरल. प्रधानमंत्री का जाने या ना जाने वाला ये डिसीशंस या अनाउंसमेंट्स अपने सही वक्त पर होता है. आज मेरे पास कोई अपडेट नहीं है इस बारे में. Somebody asked, India Japan 2+2. Look, India Japan 2+2 is an important mechanism at the ministerial level that I think was started in November 2019, if I remember correctly, and that was held in India. This is a mechanism that helps us to coordinate both on the defense as well as on our, of course, on the foreign ministry side. We are looking at, this is now Japan's turn to host it. Will give us an opportunity to review the status of defense and security cooperation, also deliberate ways on further strengthening our this cooperation, part of our special strategic and global partnership. As I said, Japan has offered to host the next meeting, but due to COVID and other factors, the meeting could not be held as yet. We will share with you details as soon as they are finalized. Okay, any other set of queries? One second, before I take a second round of questions. One second, I see a few hands there, okay.
This is Devi Rupa from The Wire. I just had a question. It's now 2 weeks since the author Salman Rushdie was stabbed in the United States. Is there any statement of condemnation from the Indian government, especially since it's a person of Indian origin and we do take up issues of PIOs, attacks against PIOs?
Okay. Oh, sorry, I missed your hand.
Gautam Lahiri. My question is that after 12 years, India and Bangladesh Joint River Commission is meeting here in Delhi, and meeting is just concluded. As NEA is also participating in the meeting, do you have any feedback on that meeting and any readout about the meeting or the agendas? If you can elaborate on that. Thank you.
My question was also related to river issue, sir.
River issue.
So, does it include only Tista or it includes all the 54 rivers between the two countries?
Okay. I saw a hand. Yeah.
Kalol from the Hindu. About the JRC meeting, is there a possibility that the Kushiari River would be taken up, the Kushiara River would be taken up for a deal? And is there a proposal also for taking up the Ganga Waters Treaty to be renewed this time?
You mean this meeting? Okay, nobody else. Oh, sorry, I missed your hand, Abhishek.
Sir, I'm Abhishek from CNN News 18. My question is regarding a Sikh girl being kidnapped and possibly converted and then married in Pakistan. The media report has been like that. So, any reaction from your side?
Okay. One more question? Okay, please.
So, Sandhya with ET. A quick one on SEPA. Would that be on table from the Indian side? Can you confirm?
For what?
With Bangladesh.
The visit that hasn't been announced?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I see no further questions. Okay, no, you had a second round. Okay, go ahead. Let me finish it off here, it says. Microphone.
At a press conference in Beijing today, the PLA spokesperson has said that China firmly opposes any third party meddling in the China-India border issue in a reference to upcoming India-US joint exercises, Yuddha Abhyas. He went on to say that in light of the relevant agreements signed by China and India in 1993 and 96, neither side is allowed to conduct military exercises against the other in areas near the line of actual control. Your response to that?
That's a very broad-based question. Okay, anyway, let me take some. Look, on I think Devrupa, you asked on the Salman Rushdie. I think External Affairs Minister had a chance to comment on it, but let me just look. India has always stood against violence and extremism. We condemn this horrific attack on Salman Rushdie, and we wish him a speedy recovery. On the Rivers Commission meeting, I see a number of questions. Actually, the problem with that is that the meetings are actually, to be honest, still going on that. I think a lot of you have asked on that. We have this meeting going on. I think the secretary level meeting took place, I think, earlier this week. And today is actually the date for the ministerial meeting that is going on. This is happening after some gap. And we will share with you more details. I think once the meeting is over, I'm not sure if it's already over, we will certainly issue something in detail on that. I don't want to get into whether what will be discussed, etc., because that's actually for that ministry. Instead of me trying to, I think Kalola asked specific questions on Kushiara, the Ganga Water Treaty, I think Tista, was it all 54 rivers? I think these are far too technical questions for me to answer, particularly on the foreign policy side. But as I said, larger issue of cooperation on water resources or water-related issues was discussed in the secretary level, and I assume is being discussed today. And as I said, more information will be shared after that meeting is over. On the issue of SEPA with Bangladesh, look, we'll see how it goes. Once the visit is announced, as and when, and then we will see. We've tried to share with you more information once I have something update on that. Sorry, you were raising your hand vis-a-vis the water issue?
Something slightly different.
Then hold on. Okay. On the issue of Abhishek, your question regarding the attack on, I think the lady's name was kidnapping case of Dina. Look, these are issues that, of course, worry us a lot. We have seen media reports regarding this kidnapping, then forced conversion, and marriage of the lady you mentioned, Dina Kaur, Sikh teacher from, I think, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. It was also reported that the police refused to file an FIR, following which the family and other Sikh community members staged a protest. It is shocking to see such further levels of religious intolerance in Pakistan. The apathy of law enforcement agencies towards religious minorities is, of course, part of that system. And we see this as yet another instance of religious persecution faced by the minority communities in Pakistan. As you are aware, there have been, unfortunately, similar instances of targeted attacks on minorities in the recent past in Pakistan, including, I think, 2 Sikh traders in Peshawar and I think May, killing of an 18-year-old Hindu girl for resisting abduction in Sukur in March 2022, and there was a brutal murder of a Christian pastor in Peshawar in February. From our perspective, these instances reveal the atmosphere of insecurity faced by religious minorities in Pakistan, and we strongly condemn the targeting of minorities there, including Hindus, Sikhs, and Christians. Actually, the government of India has been raising such issues through diplomatic channels with the government of Pakistan, and we call upon Pakistan to end this discriminatory approach towards its minorities and discharge its responsibility in ensuring the safety, security, and well-being of all its citizens. This issue of India, the statement, Sasini, that you mentioned about from Beijing, I haven't seen the full statement yet, I think it's today. But look, I think on our, some of the material that you said is exactly what we say, that the two sides should stick to agreements that in the past, and obviously that has not happened. I don't understand the reference to third-party interference. The India-US exercises are something completely different, and I don't know in what color has been given that it is targeted there or it is violating any existing agreement. I have no such information that I would be able to substantiate or agree to that. So that's probably what I had. I saw, Shinjo, anything particular that you really want to add? Otherwise, we'll close it here. Tell me.
One is that on the eve of the Hasina visit, the Foreign Minister of Bangladesh has asked India for help to conduct its next elections. That's one. The other is recent UNSC voting. As far as India's
we had one question, this is the third, but anyway, I'll answer.
UNSC voting, it appears that India appears to have voted against Russia.
Okay.
So can you explain that?
No, I will. Okay, look, on the issue of the comments by, I've seen some media reports. I presume you're talking about that. I understand there is a debate actually about the accuracy of those reports themselves. And the matter has also been clarified or is being clarified by the Bangladeshi authorities themselves. So I have nothing further to say on that. As regards you mean the Security Council vote on allowing President of Ukraine to participate, I think it was by virtual mode, in a debate yesterday. My understanding is we have not voted against anybody. It was a proposal to allow him to vote, to speak virtually, and we supported it. I think this was the third occasion that he spoke virtually. There have been 2 occasions in the past where he spoke virtually, and we supported that. So there's no question of us voting against Russia in any way. Okay, thank you very much for this. Sorry, what happened? Everybody's asked this question. What one last question? Anything very different?
So there's one terrorist who has been nabbed by the agencies in Kashmir who has said that some Pakistani colonel has given him 30.
I saw a report.
So
I'm sorry, I don't have, that's not an area for foreign policy. I don't think so. We've seen that report. Our views on how Pakistan has been promoting terrorism and what it needs to do to curb that are pretty well known. Anybody else has something really different? Yes, ma'am?
Has Pakistan confirmed its presence for the SCO counter-terrorism exercise in Manesar?
Okay, and yours was? What is your question?
I have one more question on relations with Russia.
Okay.
So, it's quite broad a question, but it will be good for my story. So
that wasn't the objective of my briefing, but please.
But mine was like this.
Okay, let me see. Quickly, please. We have to wrap up.
So this year, Russia and India celebrate 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties. So what is India's assessment of current state of Indian-Russian relations? And most interesting, what is its strategy long-term and short-term of development of
I'm happy to answer that question first. I think it's beyond the scope of a weekly briefing. The 75th anniversary, of course, as special anniversaries, there will be activities around it, but I think this is not I'm sorry, I'm not in the academic frame of mind assessment of that kind of thing. On the SCO exercise, I think you raised, look, my understanding is that Pakistan is only an observer for the closing ceremony of the event on October 13th. Okay, so that's. Thank you very much for joining us today.